Well, guys, I just finished watching the latest trailer for SnowRunner, and I honestly thought they weren't going to turn it up any more than they already had, but they did. In fact, they doubled up on everything that they already said, because now there's more regions that they announced in this trailer. They went fully in depth on what the season pass actually means and what free content they would be bringing. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this trailer, break it all down, and see what it's all about. So there's obviously a lot to unpack in this trailer, but I'm going to go over the highlights as we watch it through, and then we're going to break it down in individual bits and pieces. Now, the season pass basically covers everything you're going to see in SnowRunner for the next year. Like, for example, the search and recover, the explore and expand, and then locate and deliver, and then the actual expansion. Now, there's obviously new vehicles, activities, and more, but Phase 1, the search and recover portion of the season pass, will take you to a brand new Russian region that you have to explore, and there's new missions for you to go about as you search throughout that region. Now, I look at that and I go, dang, there's some good rock crawling to be had there. And also, I look at the ice cracking under the truck and I'm like, ho, ho, ho. All right, I see all sorts of new gameplay opportunities coming with that. And that shot that we just saw back there actually means that we'll have a new World War II ship or a World War II bomber to locate, and there's all sorts of new activities based around that as well, along with all the new stuff you just saw on the screen as well. Now, Phase 2 will take us to Canada, which is, again, a new region entirely for the series. Now, also, watching that vehicle just, scurry its way up hills is just, so satisfying to watch. Now, Phase 2 will also be more focused on building. So, as you can see, new buildings and pieces of equipment will sprout up throughout the region, as well as new vehicles, like, for example, that Caterpillar. Now, there's also going to be new cargo types, new modding features, and I'm kind of half and half on whether or not the new modding features mean that that's going to be your mods coming to console in Phase 2, or if that's just new modding features in general. Now, Phase 3 will take us to Wisconsin, so a brand new U.S. state as a region in the game, and while they didn't show any in-game footage of logging, they have said that in Phase 3, logging will make a new and very much improved return. Now, I personally didn't think that cat was going to make it into the game, being that it was just that big. I mean, I figured they were going to save that for mods. Now, obviously, Phase 4 is going to be the expansion, and we're going to be diving into what all of this means on a deeper level the more we dive into the trailer, because they didn't really give us that much information on Phase 4 itself. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the trailer and tear it all down. Now, I know it doesn't really pertain heavily to the content of the trailer, but this opening shot of the Pacific hauling this mega fuel trailer, or what I assume was a mega fuel trailer, was a great way to actually open everything up. And actually, if you look at this truck in detail, you can see that you can actually see all the way into the engine bay and actually see the engine. Now, previously, details like that were really only highlighted in mods, and the fact that they're highlighting them in stock trucks is huge to me. It shows a massive, massive upgrade in attention to detail. Now, let's talk about Phase 1, Search and Recover. Now, they've said already that this will give you access to a new Russian region that will be very, very snow-focused, very snow and ice-focused. So, if you're somebody that's really, really hyped up for that snow-focused, ice-focused gameplay, I think this is going to be a really good environment for you. There will also be new maps, new activities, and new vehicles in each one of these phases of expansion. So this is obviously for Phase 1, but they've said several new maps will be coming with this new region. So I would assume it's probably going to be 3 or 4 maps per new region. So if you think about it across the course of the next 3 phases, you're talking about potentially up to 9 new maps if each region has 3 maps on it, which is huge. Continuing to expand upon Phase 1's topics, as you can see, it very, very much resembles that frozen open tundra sort of look here, and I think even more so than the Alaska region, this looks a lot more intense, a lot more just like sort of gritty and properly difficult, and it looks like there's a lot of potential to get stuck out here. And also, properly breakable ice. That's a huge deal. Now, whether or not this is going to be something where you can actually fall through the ice, or if it's just a visual thing, I'm not completely sure on that. We'll have to wait and see. But the fact that they're even playing around with that, incredible. Now, another really cool thing about Phase 1 that they touched on is that you would be engaging in a hunt for the wreckage of a World War II bomber. Now, just even thinking about that in regards to this series is like, that's not something we've done before. That's not even remotely related to stuff that we've done before. So hunting for wreckage is completely different from doing deliveries and stuff like that. And my question about that is, are we just sort of finding the wreckage itself, and it's sort of a location-based challenge, or are we finding wreckage pieces, picking them up, and hauling them somewhere to rebuild something? I don't know. We'll see on that. They also said that in Phase 1, new trucks and skins would also be added. Phase 2 is very exciting because Phase 2 welcomes us to Canada for the very first time in this series' history. Now, they also opened it up with this wide shot of one of the largest trailers or largest pieces of cargo I've personally ever seen in regards to SnowRunner. When they cut over to the next shot, though, it sort of made it look like it wasn't quite as big, but I feel like it's definitely still going to be considered one of those mega cargos, as it were, because they say they plan on releasing new mega cargos also with each of these new phases. Now, this is another shot from the Canada region, and for one, this vehicle is insane. It's awesome, and I can't wait to drive it. Like, just every time I look at it, I'm like, yeah, I need that in my life. But another thing that I really wanted to touch on is the fact that the Canada region seems to have both snowy areas and just open wooded, sunny areas as well. So that'll be really cool. That means that you'll really have to plan out heavily in advance for a lot of these missions that are going to be through multiple maps, because you could start in an environment where there was no snow at all and then end up finishing in a completely snowed under environment. So you really do have to set your trucks up early on and plan for the future of your haul. They also said that a large focus of Phase 2 would be on building and constructing. So you'll probably be transporting mostly construction materials, and there's a lot of focus on really settling harsh terrain. So settling and conquering harsh environments, harsh terrain, and I doubt that we'll be able to use any of those like excavators or anything. I feel like that's probably just going to be a set piece, but the fact that they're even there still makes the environments feel a lot more believable and a lot more immersive. But I think, as with what we're seeing here, for example, we've got a crate and some supplies. I think supply deliveries and equipment deliveries or building material deliveries are probably going to be the bread and butter of your Phase 2 gameplay. And here's actually a shot at some of the buildings that essentially pop up out of the ground with the delivery of pretty much everything that you'll end up moving on this map. I mean, once you deliver all of these new things, buildings are gonna start sprouting up out of the ground. And let's not forget this guy. This cat was really only shown in chassis form and didn't really have any attachments on the back. And I feel like they're probably going to keep the attachments a little bit more under wraps because they probably don't want to like throw all of those chips out there on the table just yet. But I'm sure that it could have maybe a dump truck attachment, maybe a flatbed attachment. I don't know if it's going to be able to tow trailers. I don't really think it will, but I'm very excited to see what sort of attachments you can throw on the back of that thing, because that's going to be huge. Phase 3 marks the return of logging and the addition of another new region known as Wisconsin. Now, y'all, I'm sure there are people in the comment section down below that are from Wisconsin that are like, oh my God, like that are freaking out right now because their state is going to be in the game. But I'm very curious as to how they're going to represent that, because I love how they're focusing on adding new regions in the US, but they've also added another snow region and they've added that Canada region. So they're really trying to draw from as much different inspiration as they possibly can. And it really doesn't feel to me like they're leaning one way or the other. They really are trying to just just draw from as many sources as humanly possible here. And that to me is like, that to me is the coolest part. The fact that they're drawing from as many sources as they possibly can. And I know there's a lot that's getting added here, and there's a lot that's getting talked about. There's a lot that they're throwing out onto the table, but that's why I really wanted to break it down and just kind of slow everything down and really dive into it. Now, as far as logging goes, they did not show any in-game footage of logging, but rather chose to show real-world footage of logging, which I thought was a bit of an odd choice. I don't know why they wouldn't show in-game logging unless there's a lot of new features that they've put into it and don't really want to share the details on it just yet. And I could believe that, because what they said in the trailer was that they have really revamped and redone everything around the idea of logging. So I'm not sure what all that means. I'm not sure if that means that they've redone a lot of the attachments and a lot of the graphics, or if they've redone the gameplay mechanics, but I'll be very, very, very curious to see how they've gone about reworking the concept of logging, which has been around really since the series beginning. I mean, we're talking about like OG spin tires stuff. Now, here's another shot that I looked at from the Wisconsin region and that they showed in the trailer. And honestly, man, you know, you're looking at one of these mega fuel trailers in the mud, trying to just claw at every last bit of traction to get out. That is the classic Spin Tires gameplay. That is the classic Mud Runner gameplay that we know and love. And they really have not gone away from their roots here, while they have also added so many new things to this game. So many new things. There's really so much to be excited about here that it's really hard to condense it down into one video. I mean, I could genuinely go on for hours about how excited I was about the different features of this game, but you know, we have to kind of condense it down into one like trailer breakdown, so sometimes it's a little tricky. But let me know in the comment section below what you're most excited about after watching this trailer and trailer breakdown. I would love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know, and I also genuinely hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next one. Make sure to subscribe, turn those notifications on, and hit that like button, and also share this video with your friends to get the info about SnowRunner out there, and also to answer any questions that they might have. And also, if you guys have any questions, also make sure to leave them in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will see y'all next time.